I still remember the sound of my aunt laughing. Not the warm kind of laugh you hear at family dinners. No, this one was sharp, cold, the kind that makes everyone in the room look away. You're still a secretary? She said, shaking her head as if I had disappointed her personally. The room fell quiet. We were sitting around my grandmother's long wooden table during our annual family gathering. Plates clinked softly. Someone coughed. My cousins avoided eye contact, and there I was, sitting at the edge of the table, feeling about 10 years old again. Yes, I replied quietly. I work as an executive assistant. My aunt leaned back in her chair, raising an eyebrow. Executive assistant. She repeated, sweetheart. That's just a fancy word for secretary. A few people laughed awkwardly. I forced a smile. I had gotten used to this reaction. For years, my family had measured success in loud waste titles, money, prestige. Doctors, lawyers, business owners. My aunt loved reminding everyone that her son was a decorated Navy SEAL. And compared to that, I was just the quiet girl with a laptop and a simple office job. But what they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that my job wasn't simple at all. My name is Elena. I work in a small office building in Washington, D.C. Officially, my title is executive assistant. Unofficially, I handle things most people in that room wouldn't even understand. Sensitive information, strategic communications, crisis coordination. My boss once told me, you're the calmest mind in the building, but at family gatherings, none of that mattered. To them, I was just the secretary. My aunt wasn't done, you know. She continued loudly, when my son Daniel comes back next month, you should ask him how real careers work. She smiled proudly. Being a Navy SEAL takes discipline, intelligence, courage. I nodded politely, of course. I said that inside, though, something cracked. Not because she insulted my job, but because she had never once asked what I actually did. Then the front door opened. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. My cousin Daniel had arrived. Tall, strong, calm, in a way that made the whole room feel smaller. Everyone stood up to greet him. My aunt rushed over and hugged him like he had just returned from war. Daniel, she beamed. Come sit. We were just talking about careers. He sat beside her, greeting everyone politely. Then his eyes landed on me. For a moment, he studied my face. Confused. Then curious. Then strangely serious. Wait, he said slowly. You're Elena, right? I nodded. Double quotes yes. He leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice, and what he whispered next made the entire room go silent. Oracle 9. At first, I thought I misheard him. The words hung in the air between us like a secret that had escaped too early. Oracle 9. Daniel repeated quietly. My heart stopped. I looked around the table quickly. No one else seemed to understand what he had said, but Daniel did. And that was the problem. I forced a small smile. I think you're mistaken, I said gently, but Daniel leaned back, studying me with a new expression. Respect. Real respect. You're the one who coordinates intel briefings for the task group, aren't you? He asked. My aunt frowned. Double quotes Daniel. What are you talking about? She interrupted. She's a secretary. He didn't take his eyes off me. No, he said calmly. She's not. The room fell silent again. My stomach tightened. You see, the reason I never talked about my job wasn't embarrassment. It was confidentiality. My role in the office involved handling classified communications between departments that supported military operations. I wasn't the one on the battlefield, but sometimes information was just as powerful as weapons. And Daniel clearly knew that. I remembered the code name. He said quietly. Oracle 9. You helped redirect our intel pipeline during an operation last year. My throat felt dry. That wasn't just scheduling emails. He continued. That decision saved our team from walking straight into a trap. Now the room was completely silent. My aunt looked confused. What is he talking about? She asked. I finally spoke. It's nothing, I said softly. Just office work. But Daniel shook his head. No, he said firmly, it's not nothing. He looked around the table. My team was deployed overseas last year. We were given updated intel at the last minute. He paused. If that intel hadn't arrived, we wouldn't have come home. My aunt's face slowly lost its confident smile. She looked at me as if seeing me for the first time. You did that? She asked. I shook my head gently. I just passed along the right information. But Daniel spoke again. No, he corrected quietly. You recognized a pattern no one else caught. That warning saved lives. The room stayed silent for a long time. For years. My family had believed my life was small, ordinary, unimportant, and suddenly, the truth had slipped out at the dinner table. I wasn't embarrassed, but I was uncomfortable, not because they knew, but because they finally cared. My aunt didn't speak for a while. She looked down at the table, turning her glass slowly in her hand. The same woman who had laughed at me minutes earlier now seemed unsure of what to say. Finally, she cleared her throat. Well, I didn't realize, she muttered. Daniel stood up to refill his drink. Before he walked away, he said something that changed the entire room. People think heroes only wear uniforms, he said calmly, but sometimes the person behind the desk is the reason those uniforms come home. No one laughed this time. Dinner continued quietly after that. No more jokes. No more comments about my job. Just silence. And a strange kind of respect. Later that night, as everyone was leaving, my aunt approached me near the door. She looked uncomfortable. Elena, she said softly, I'm sorry if I underestimated you. I smiled gently. It's okay, I said. And honestly, it was because revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's simply the truth being revealed at the right moment. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to prove anything. Life had done that for me. Daniel walked past us on his way out and gave me a small nod. The kind family gives each other. The kind professionals give when they understand the weight of responsibility. That night, I drove home through the quiet city streets, thinking about how strange life can be. Some people spend their whole lives chasing recognition, but real impact often happens quietly, behind closed doors. In offices where no one claps. And sometimes the people who look the smallest in the room are carrying the biggest responsibilities. So if there's one thing I learned that night, it's this. Never measure someone's worth by their title, because the person you think is just a secretary might be the reason someone you love made it home alive.